We got some good news. We're gonna give everybody good news because we get all heated and stuff. But we got this story right here. Check this out. Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller is released from the brig today. Marine who was jailed for criticizing Afghanistan withdrawal goes free after landslide of public support. The military said his lawyers reached an agreement with the Marines. He was put in confinement last Monday after posting a video criticizing the withdrawal from Afghanistan. Scheller condemned the kinetic effort that killed 13 service members. So he kept speaking. They told him, if you don't shut up, we're going to lock you in the brig. And he said, I'm not going to shut up. So they lock him in the brig.
Good for him.
Yeah. Bravo. This is a guy who stood up, who risked everything and said, lock me up. I'm not backing down. So what does this show us? It's not about just Stuart Scheller. It's about massive public support. There was a wave of support saying, don't do this. You can't do this. He raised millions of dollars from fans who were supporting him, whatever his politics. Apparently, he doesn't like Trump supporters or whatever. I'm not concerned with that. He stood up. He challenged the unaccountable, these military leaders, people like Milley who are crackpots, and he got punished for it. He got attacked for it. Well, now he's being released. I hope he comes out, squeaky clean. I hope he makes a good living. I hope he writes a book. I hope he finds a career in standing up and speaking out against the corruption and unaccountability that we have in our government and our military and all that stuff. But anyway, the good news here is, aside from his release, you can do it, right? It's possible to win.
Well, we're going to see what's going to happen with that particular case, but it's daunting that he was the only one punished over the whole Afghanistan debacle. Over everything that happened, the one person held responsible, the one person that the rules actually applied to was a guy sitting back and making a YouTube video.
No,
hold on. A Facebook video, excuse me.
You said held responsible and rules applied to? I disagree. I think he didn't. Okay, maybe the rules are arguably being broken. But he's not being held responsible. What was he responsible for? Saying that we should, as a country, live up to our ideals and our standards?
And hold our leaders accountable for their horrible actions.
That's the foundation of this country.
Yeah.
Not something to be held responsible for. That's something to be cherished for.
Yeah, well, I misspoke there, and I agree with you on that sentiment. But when we look at Afghanistan, my goodness, the utter mess, the utter distraction. I mean, this couldn't get any worse than you could even imagine it to be, especially with the drone bombing of an innocent aid worker and 7 children. I mean, when you have actions committed like this, and then the guy criticizing it goes to jail, and then you get propped up, you get to lie on national media, say that you went after ISIS-K, whatever that propaganda term means, whatever made-up invention the Pentagon just came out of thin air just to justify this bullcrap. I mean, you got to be kidding me.
They bombed the house, civilians.
Yeah, they bombed a car with 7 children inside of it, and an aid worker that was working for a U.S. organization that was delivering water and aid to local communities. He was a person that was well respected in Afghanistan for helping people who needed help, and the U.S. bombed him and then lied about him and said he was trying to kill people because he was filling up waters in his back. They knowingly lied to everyone with this larger propaganda story, and then this is the same president that did this that is calling people like Putin killers.
You know, the problem is if we're going to consider this like a really inept, malicious military experience, like the whole U.S. government is just fallaciously dangerous. Let's just say.
Yeah, they armed the Taliban with billions of dollars of machine guns and weaponry, things that I wish I could own and have that I will never be able to have because of government regulations the Taliban now has with my tax dollars.
I think my problem is that we're using state-funded propaganda media right now. Google, I'm talking to you, Alphabet, to talk about it, and that's a big problem because if you're going to use the Nazis' propaganda to bash the Nazis, it's not going to go very far. And I know I can't say what I want to say on this TV show because of censorship. This is like the worst military debacle in the last 100 years. I don't know. The last 20 years of war, Afghanistan, America, the United States, the greatest country ever.
Yeah, it was all ruse. It was all based on lies, and the military-industrial complex milked it to the last drop until even to the point where the Afghanistan papers came out when the Washington Post even released documentation showing that it's all a scam. Nothing's happening here. No one's being trained. No one's being helped. There's no mission here. No one knows what's going on here. Years ago. It still continued. And when it was ended, I think, deliberately bad for a very specific reason. And it could have been ended totally differently. There could have been different approaches, and it's just mind-boggling. But
we've had the Afghanistan conversation 50 times.
Yeah.
The issue here was the optimism that this guy who spoke up has been released.
Yeah, but it's like a story that's like the headline might as well be "Man stops beating his wife."
That's
good
you got a good point there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see the optimism in that.
Well, at least he stopped.
Yeah,
Exactly.
True. Correct, yeah.
After a large public campaign, he agreed to stop beating his wife for now.
But it shows you, again, the politicization of the security state, the politicization of anyone who speaks out against the agenda, against the narrative. They want people fearful. They want people afraid to speak out. They want people afraid to stand up. They want people to buckle down and be afraid of them.
We need Google and Alphabet on our side. And I know there are people, I know you're listening, and you believe us, and you believe me, and we need you.
I think that was actually a really profound point that you made about
Yeah.
because I think it in some ways it attests to how hungry we are for some like scruple of good news, just like one good like silver lining to focus on for a minute.
And it's actually like watching someone dig a hole, and then when you hear that they filled the hole, we're like, yay, the hole was filled. But it's like the person caused the problem in the first place,